So my bad if my rugged device gets smashed around a bit. But still, with the lack of trespassing, is not going to get harmed. As so would people's feelings and opinions and presumptions and assumptions, like that is with the mental. And the mental should, if you're sane and with capacity, that is, I guess running outpatient programs is with the trespassing to some degree. Now, I thought this video would be very, how should I put it, basic knowledge, essential. There's a word that people are familiar with, something that a lot of people should have. I don't know how am I going to get this phone to just sit there, you know? The steering wheel can only do so much. Might have to get my keys in and steer a little bit. Anyway, so when it comes to law, is the basic principle is all based on trespassing, really. So if you know what trespassing is and what it isn't, and yes, over here in New Zealand, even though they've done a good, like it's a very good thing that you can trespass people. So you can apply law as it would be. For most part, from how I've seen it being used, it has been quote unquote weaponized. So it pretty much almost defeats the purpose in a lot of times. So it's with the opposite of lack of trespassing. So it's like people use it to trespass on others. You know, like as in you want to harass someone, you just trespass them. You know, like because you can just trespass them for like I mean, when it comes to that stuff from America and all of that with the prejudice and you know like LGBTQ laws and all of this sort of stuff. Like I mean, it's as if, and it's I think it's the LGBTQ sort of people and stuff like this that I've seen for, well, maybe not like a lot, but at least like we'll call it a 51%, okay, and things like this, because of being victims of mind control and things like this, you know. So then, you know, because of having lack of power of attorney, which means, you know, as a result of or along the lines of being combatant, belligerent, where you should be non-combatant, and with the lack of belligerence and so on and so forth, and with the lack of trespassing as a result of that, knowing law. So to simplify it, really, I'm still trying to, so I'm being Napoleon Bonaparte over here, trying to do 1,000 things at one time, really trying to dial this phone in. Yeah, like I said, you know, I might fall 1,000 times, but it's quite strong. It is what it is. So if you're with the lack of, if you know what trespassing is, I mean, say for example, doing harm onto others, that is trespassing, right? It's specific, so to really dial it in when there's lack of consent, because if you're engaged, say, in a boxing match, well, both the fighters are there to be combatant, right? And they have managers which are non-combatant, non-belligerent, so on and so forth, with some form of power of attorney. So you can't, if you engage in, if you're some form of a contact sport person man, woman, whatever it is, well, you're with the lack of power of attorney. You're by nature unlawful. You will not, you may be struggling to understand what lack of trespassing is, because by nature you are being trained to trespass onto others. That's just what it is. So, that's maybe why a lot of people struggle to find, be and live with the lack of trespassing, and why they go and trespass onto others and then ring up the police or fill out a trespassing form and get people that are non-belligerent, non-combatant, so on and so forth, with power of attorney trespassed. Now, that is unlawful. That is the, how should we put it, upside down world that we live in. Now, if everyone would just purely understand the simple trespassing fact, should we say, there would be no harm done onto others, like zero. Like one simple thing, I think, well, for most part, that people understand or get the meaning of is when it comes to sex, right? Like how you have to get consent. Like that is very basic, right? To some people is not, but because, and for most part is because games are being played, or have you got game, this and that, yada, yada, yada. So like, what are you trying to say? Like, can we be fake? But in the same sense, like this is, again, pretty much all of us are being forced to be, if not sufferers, at least victims of some form of external mind control instead of having your own mind control. So someone is trespassing on you, and it happens successfully when you, with the lack of knowledge of these facts. So it's just as simple as that. I mean, I dialed law in to, that's what it is. If you know what trespassing is and what trespassing is not, and you can practice that, I found it real easy with animals and nature, things like this. Like you can easily tell if, and it gets, for example, with cats. With cats, it gets real easy to see if you're trespassing them or not, and they sort of let you know about it. They'll go, like, and this and that. They'll hiss at you and this and that, And if you're at heart with a lack of trespassing, they usually come. They're more friendly, and that they are keen to make friends with you. Things like this. So that's where that's what being lawful or unlawful is. If you're trespassing on someone or not, it's as simple as that. Then society creates all sorts of boxes and rules and so on and so forth. And if they're trying to trespass on you, they can keep dialing in and making that box smaller and smaller. I don't know. Today, like take, for example, the drink driving legislation, because it's not a law. Like you could be, I don't know, at 500 per se, 00500 or whatever it is in Australia, and you're still being lawful, while in New Zealand at 250 or in Romania at 00. So that's where it's at. But are you trespassing on anyone? For example, if there is damage being done, if there is bona fide injured party, if people are willing to rock forward and be like, hey, this done this and that, these people done this, that, and ta la la la, then there is some form of evidence of trespassing. That's how law should be. And with facts and evidence, like with facts, how the police goes and chases up facts, like with the evidence, not say camera evidence, like if it's on the video, like if you've got on video, there's someone comes and, engages to fight with you, and you don't want to fight, you're like, bro, step away, like it's all good, I'll walk away, and they still come and hit you. Well, that is full-on trespassing. For example, I went to a shop, and the security guard, which was the authority as it would be, they were more than happy for me to walk in. Then as soon as I walked in, the rest of the staff decided to gang bang trespass me for no good reason. And the legislation over here is of such nature that is okay. I even talked it over with the police, and they were like, yeah, no, you can get trespassed for any reason. And I've said this time and time again, like, I mean, is absolutely, I don't know how, like I mean, in terms of, in regards of that, is absolutely unbelievable that people talk about anything else than this type of, is absolute, is the pinnacle of prejudice. Like you can't get any more prejudice than this. Like you can't have any laws that are more, or because there's not, it can't possibly be a law. It's just nom de guerre legislation, and people just stand for it and harm others, because that's what it is. It's almost it's the same as a lot of Wi-Fi laws or things like this. Who's measuring this stuff? You could be getting radiated the hell out 1 second, and then next second you're not. All you have to do is prove it. Like prove that there's ghosts. Can you prove that there's ghosts? You can't. Or maybe you can. There's I witnessed I studied a specific case where this was practical, like factual laboratory work, and one of the professors was very annoyed that there was a specific anomaly. Okay, he dialed it in. It was a fan or some sort of vibration that the fan, or a specific fan, was giving out, that was creating these waves that was ruining his experiments and so on and so forth. So that's how these things work. When it comes to trespassing, when it comes to law, like again, like there is no law if there is trespassing. Okay, like if someone gets convicted of something correctly, or charged, or gets caught out doing if someone gets caught out doing trespassing onto others factually, like a criminal that, say, steals or something like this, and then the public or the rest, all of us, agree that that is what has happened, then the criminal pretty much, unless he's with the what do you call it, mental health issues, agrees as well, and then they get persecuted, they get punished. That is lawful. So even if they get quote unquote trespassed on, I don't know, they get the death penalty or they get put in jail, it is what do you call it, it's still somewhat consensual, unless they are fully insane, because their mind is failing and they've got no recollection of what they're doing. But it's not trespassing, is it? What is the problem with the world being upside down is that they create legislation where everyone is trespassing on everyone else. So you could create legislation that says that it's legal, but it's all unlawful, and everyone's just being unlawful against each other. You could, if you were an insane dictator, you could create legislation in such a way that everyone is trespassing on everyone else all the time, and everyone, it just turns everyone insane, and so on and so forth, you know. So I don't know if I've brought more light about law, you know, and the difference between the legal and the lawful, and how it should, you know, like if we were to be correct, like legislation should be lawful and should be with a lack of trespassing onto others without consent, you know, like everything should be consensual. Like, to me, it just baffles my mind that there is legislation that is with lack of consent for a lot of people. And, you know, like, say for example, they get you to like tick the box of yeah, I accept the terms and conditions, but like, is there any chance or any factual time and space and so on and so forth for all of us to like sit there and read every single term and condition? And then is there any what do you call it, like one word, one meaning, you know? Is there any closure to the legalese that they use, you know? So to me, it all seems on the face or on the back of it, you know, like more with the trespassing. Just because the likes of myself and so on and so forth, then I go in and make sure there is a equilateral, bilateral contract, and I put in my terms and conditions as well, with the lack of trespassing and the lack of harm, right? With correct communication as I can, even in layman's terms as it would be. That's another thing, but a lot of people don't do this and presume and assume that you know, they have their rights. So these are some of the major concerns that go way before, you know, like any of the other stuff that people like. I mean, all the other stuff that a lot of people try and focus on and stuff would just disappear. Like they're not even, they are non-issues, as it were. A lot of the stuff that people go and quote unquote fight for and protest and all, they're not, they are non-issues, as it would be, if you know what trespassing is, one, to begin with, and then two, to be with the lack of trespassing and with law, if possible, right? Be lawful, be correct, with the lack of trespassing. That's pretty good. So that's where it's at. I mean, and in the same sense, everyone should be able to communicate and, you know, live amongst each other and all of that. That's where it's at. Like that's what brings people together, and in the same sense splits people apart that are not meant to be apart. I've noticed legislation that brings people together that should never be together, and is for, like I've been saying, it's forcing people to trespass onto each other without any consent, so on and so forth. So it might be legal, because just because it, like, any one of us could go and write something on a piece of paper and then get it to pass through, but it doesn't mean that it's correct. Like that's just all there is to it. You know, like they've created the atomic bomb, all manner of things like this, but it doesn't mean that it's correct, that it should have gone out of the labs and out of the you know, classified section and onto the public and so on and so forth. That's just all there is to it. Then there's other things and other technologies and other all manner of things that should go onto the public with the lack of trespassing, and it's lawful and all of this. And they're trying to pass it off as unlawful and illegal and all of that. Okay, well, from illegal, they're trying to say that it's unlawful and all of that. Like, well, I ain't allowed to make a cup of tea. Like, this gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it's been lawful for like millennia. They're trying to say, nah, now it's illegal, you know? What do you mean? Like, I feed it to the eagle, and the eagle is real strong. Last time I checked. How many ways can you know, like, it's language, is communication, is, you know, like the easiest way you can go and run tricks and traps on people and nom-de-gear them, or, you know, making them vessels lost at sea, or get them to be confused and get sick and die, or whatever have you. You know, but maybe get sick and then use them as puppets, you know, as pawns in your own game, is to corrupt language, to corrupt their minds, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think we're real close to this sort of stuff. I've been, you know, meaning to, you know, do my part into helping people be with the lack of trespassing, you know, so on and so forth. But there's only so much I can do by myself. Anyways, the lesson is this, you know, like, if you learn how to be with a cat, and that means that you might not have to, you know, like, if the cat don't like you, well, leave the cat alone. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Trespass on the cat? Some cats, well, I'm pretty good with animals. Some of them, they've got some issues of their own. They'll just be by themselves. Luckily, like me and my family, for example, we domesticated some of the wild cats back in in Southland. Yeah, and then it would bring me a fresh rabbit every day. You know, it was real wild cat. And only every now and then it would come and sit on the lap. And if you'd try and grab it, oh man, like it would literally shred. You'd have like 2 centimeter deep gashes in your hands, you know, like real wild beast, you know, like a mini lynx or a mini, I don't know, gepard or whatever, you know, like real wild. You know, it would stuff you up real bad. So you'd learn pretty quick how to not trespass on her, because it was a female, old female. It was almost like a bear, a bear cat, you know. What happened is someone trespassed on her, and you know, they brought her up and then left the farm and left the cat there by herself forever, you know. And then we came onto the farm. We ended up settling on the farm, and came and made friends with us, because we're good people like that, you know. But it had some issues, you know. But we still didn't trespass on it, you know. Like, it's just is what it is. So learn what trespassing on others is and what trespassing is not, you know. It is absolutely nom-de-guerre stupid, and absolutely just, there's no words for it when people try to say that, oh, we're doing this and we do that. What are you doing? Trespassing on others. Like, you know, like, for example, the African slaves, they got trespassed on. Well, I noticed that the intelligent ones, the ones with the high IQ, really got it dialed down in on what trespassing on others and not trespassing on others is, and what isn't. They surely do. So that's where it's at, you know. Like, I mean, anything. Then there's another aspect to the thing. We could look at it from a psychological standpoint. So you have malignant narcissism, where you enjoy creating slaves or things like this out of others, or doing harm onto others. Or you could be a codependent, where you allow yourself to be a slave, or you don't mind if, you know, you could be sadomasochistic, say, for example, in extreme cases. Well, both of these extremes are not good, okay? You could be hang loose, or you could be extreme freaking, I don't know, either one way or another one. How about dialing it in like at work? You know, you go in at work, you know, and you know you're getting paid, but you're putting in some work, so you're providing some service. You've got some quote unquote masters. You know, you're being the quote unquote slave because you got your rights, this and that. You could walk away at any point, right? But there is a trade-off. There is an exchange. It's correct. Is a bilateral or equilateral agreement. Now, who's trying to create, unilateral agreements? You know, again, when it comes to the applications or programs on the phones and things like this, where you have to accept the terms and conditions no matter what, you're not going to get your pay. And then you might have to accept in there that they're, I don't know, trespassing on you. How is that equilateral? How does that, where's the equality there, you know? Where's the lack of prejudice and, is ridiculous. I think I'll end it on that note. And how much work do we have to do? How about yet another thing to focus on? Banking in whatever the major national product or service that any nation is providing. Yeah, I don't know. Say, for example, in New Zealand is milk, dairy products, and meat. When is that going to get banked into gold? You know, or other things that are touchable, you know, because it's real easy to just corrupt an electronic system. You know, like, well, I'm giving you blood, sweat, and tears and gold, and you're giving me back numbers on a computer. Like it's there is again some form of trespassing. You know, there's other nations that they give you gold. What do you give them back? Like the digital numbers on a computer. You know, there's other countries that give you, I don't know, China, for example, workers. They give you workers, you know, so we don't call them slaves. What do you give them back? Numbers on a computer. So that's where it's at. Other people provide you safety. Other people provide you all sorts of stuff. What do you give them back? Do you at least give them grains, or do you at least give them milk, or do you know? I mean, hey, diversified. Yeah, we still need the digital currencies and so on and so forth. But how about 25% this, 25% that, 25% the other, or 50-50 or something. You know, enough of the bullshit. That's it. Have a good one.